Hi, I'm Gary Burley, and welcome to Cooking with the Pros. Lionel James and I today have the honor and pleasure of interviewing one of the University of Alabama's all-time greats and first-round draft choice for the Buffalo Bills, Mr. Marcell Dareus. We're going to talk about a lot of things, so let's get right to it. Okay, Train, season's over. It's time to start evaluating talent for the University of Alabama. And what I want to do is save some of that, what we're going to do, so we can talk to a guy that's already been there. Marcell can kind of give us an update on the guys that he's played with and what his position is on some of the guys that are leaving. So,
right, I'll speak from an offensive standpoint. I think what you really want to do, remember, in the NFL, they've already got a specific group set up for this combine situation. Mm-hmm. And also with that, you got scouts that have been coming out to games all year round. So what you already got in the bucket right now is film. All right, the film really shows the true story of how well a guy can play. So when you start getting down to the combine, now what you're trying to do is go specific on some things. For example, at my position playing running back, first thing you want to do is be as fast as you can be in the 40-yard dash. Mm-hmm. And I think right now they even time you at the 10, at the 20, at the 30. All right, the next thing you want to show is, for example, when I played at Auburn, we played in the wishbone. Mm-hmm. We didn't throw the football. So the big question was, can he really catch? All right, so now, let's say you Trent Richardson coming out of Alabama, where they threw him the ball, he ran the ball, he can do it all. So the biggest thing about a person like that going to the combine, be as fast as you can be as strong as you can be as physically fit as possible. All right, and most of those guys know already with the combine coming up, they know they got to be there. Mm-hmm. They know they got to show those time. And then now, when you put that in, you got film work in the bucket, and you got this in there, and you already got the attitude from the scouts. If they figure your first round, second round, third round, fourth round, they already know what you are inside on the field.
Mm-hmm. When you're evaluating, let's go with defensive linemen. Basically, you do the strength test and, of course, the 40-yard dash. But why is there not more emphasis, like you say, put on a 10-yard dash? Because as a rushing the quarterback, it's 10 yards, it's not 40 yards. So kind of bring me up to speed on what you think about that.
So I'm with you on that, because really, what are those guys doing? They're trying to hold down a position on the offensive line, right? And then get to the quarterback. What's the quarterback going to do? The deepest drop he's going to have, if he's not bootlegging, is 7 yards. 7-step drop, and he's getting rid of the football on time. So I'm with you on that. I think you put more emphasis on the big guys on 10 yards than you do on the 40. Okay, Tim, what does a big guy, 300 pounds, running the 40-yard dash going to do? How many times can he run that in a football game? How many times can he do? Right, exactly. So I think the emphasis should be put on that, and maybe more of the weightlifting and technique things. I think the quicker drills where they put the cones up and you got to run around the cone in a short period of time, because what do you got to do? You got to jump over linemen. You got to miss running backs trying to chip you on the way out. Those are the most important thing. And when is that going to happen? Right there in that little 7-yard box.
I feel the same way. Last week we talked to Chris Dolman. Chris Dolman had 150 sacks. In the conversation that we had, I said, Chris, why are they not teaching how to rush the quarterback anymore? It seems like that's a lost art, because you've got teams out there that, you have some guys that get 14, 15, 16 sacks, but the other 3 guys aren't really putting the pressure on the quarterback. And then when they do rush, they go inside and knock somebody else off the block. So why is it not imperative that they start teaching how to get up the field and stay in your pass rush lanes?
Just to give you my answer on that, somebody's always trying to catch up with somebody. Either the offense is trying to catch up with the defense. You get that zone blitz and that defense lineman dropping out and the quarterback not used to seeing it. Or then on offense, they got different packages. 3 wides, 4 wides, no backs, 3 tights, 2 tights. So now I think what comes along with that is guys have to now become more specific. So now you draft guys just to be a pass rusher. So now is he a true tackler? All right, can he form tackle? Is that really what you want him to do? If you look at the Giants, who just played in the Super Bowl, they got about 4 guys on the defensive line that are basically the same. And it was interesting to me to hear during the game, they were trying to explain their different packages on defense, and they had one package called NASCAR. If you think NASCAR, what's going on now?
Speed.
These guys getting up, so they are all pass rushers. They didn't say heavy set. You know, that means probably a run situation, something 3rd and short or 4th and short or goal line. So I think the game just become more specific, and you got to do different things. And the offense catches up with the defense, then the defense got to go back and catch up with the offense. Not, I want to say that's a big part of it.
Okay, now with what's coming up now with the combine and the draft, the lost season last year, because you know it definitely was a sore point for the whole NFL when the guys can't practice in the off season. The strike, not strike related, but the bargaining agreement, the problems that they had there, guys couldn't get together. So it was a slow start. Some teams came out on fire, some teams stayed the same. Bottom line is the best 2 teams ended up in the Super Bowl. What is going to be different this year that you think?
You got to have more teaching. You know, they have the off-season program, and then you got so many days that you can practice, and maybe it's on, I'm not sure, we'll get it from Marcell, but there's only so much time you can practice per day. You're not out there in the helmet. But what you do have is you have a lot of coaching and teaching going on. Now you got a playbook during the off season that you can look at and see plays. And the next thing is that this season, if those guys got together, I'm sure there were some teams, and I remember Drew Brees saying, you know, we go out here and do this all the time. But you don't have coaches on the field. All right, that's where your specific coaching technique, things like that, progressions on routes, what do you do, how do you escape? Because now, if I'm better than you, and this is just competition here.
Okay.
If I'm better than you and we play the same position, I ain't gonna listen to you because you're gonna tell me something I might not wanna hear. All right, but that coach is a neutral guy, and he's got to do the teaching. Now we can sit there and we can say all of that. And this year, starting out the season, they should be better. Then you can look back at guys like Cam Newton and wonder where did all of that come from. You know?
Well, I tell you what, this is a good place to stop. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll interview Marcell Dareus.
Here at the Charter International Dateline facility, scientists have 1 foot in today and 1 foot literally in tomorrow to bring Charter customers the latest thing. Oh, it's Casual Friday over here. Like switching your phone service from AT&T, Verizon, or CenturyLink, Charter guarantees to cut your phone bill in half. Speaking of cutting things in half, where's the rest of those pants?
Thank you so much.
What is it that makes us different here?
Do you know how to do number 13?
Yes, ma'am.
Say it. Who?
Sweet friend bringing me a castle.
Maybe it's knowing when to help. Check one of the Project Share boxes on your power bill and help someone who really needs it.
Cooking with the Pros is brought to you by Alabama Power, always on. And we are back. As I mentioned earlier, we have the honor and pleasure of having Mr. Marcell Dareus here with us today, live. And Marcell, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing good. How you doing?
Hey, man, every day above ground is a good day.
I heard that.
Listen, I had the pleasure of meeting Marcell when he was a junior in high school, and we were at a football camp, and I noticed his footwork, and his mechanics, and I said, this cat has it all right now, and he don't even know it. And we met, we started talking, and we've been in touch with each other, and keeping his career intact. I've been watching him, and the guy has gone from Huffman High School to all-star status at the University of Alabama, and now first-round draft choice. Has it all happened too fast? Tell us about it.
It's still a blur, you know. Things are going so fast. You missed a lot of things as things were coming. So, man, the draft came, combine, training, and everything was just going on. So you really just can't get a grasp of it. I'm still trying to take it in as we going now.
It's going to happen. I mean, it's happening. It's already happening for you, and I believe that your team, like we were just talking earlier, this year coming up is going to be a better year for you because there'll be more structure in it, and you'll be able to accomplish the goals that you set for yourself going on into his career in the NFL.
But question, all right, go from Huffman to Alabama to the Buffalo Bills. Where did you get your work ethics from? From your high school coach, parents, brother, sister, somewhere it all started, and you had to finish it?
That was just a structure my mom always built in us. She had 6 boys, 1 girl, so she really made all the men work hard every day, like in the yard, doing something. Always had to be outside, never sat in the house. And so that kind of just carried over when I play football. I wake up doing things you don't have to tell me to do. I just do it on the regular.
So you had initiative.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last week, 2 weeks ago, we were talking to Lee Steinberg,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I asked him that same question, and he said, my parents gave me the core value. That's exactly what he just said. He got the core value.
It's like we always talk about. It's like developing a strategic approach to a roadmap to success. Because in football and sports in general, but football, most likely, you're going to learn the dedication, the motivation, and how to execute all the plans that you set. So once you do that, it just transfers anything else you want to do. You want to go into business, you do it the same way. You got to be here, you got to know marketing, you got to know financing, you got to know this, you got to know that. Well, you learn all that in sports. But all you have to do is follow that plan that started by your mom and your dad or whoever else is in your life. Somebody has to set the format for you, and then you just follow that suit.
Right. So sounds like he had that already. Now, once you got to the University of Alabama, what did you get from Nick Saban?
I mean, you got a mixture of a lot of things with Coach Saban. You get somebody who's mentoring you as well, going to discipline you, and he wants you to do the right thing, and he just wants you to do it the right way. And so he pushes you to the limit where you think you can't go any further, and he just makes you go knock that wall down so you can always push yourself. And even I would always say University of Alabama was the hardest. I think that was the hardest it ever been in my life, playing ball. But I learned so much. I mean, we all on track, getting our degrees, all the players graduating, we're doing well, we're winning. I just get mad at people when they talk about Alabama when they just mad. If you're winning, don't be mad at us. But that's just what Coach Saban brought so much to the table. But it's just how it is in the University of Alabama.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about the University of Alabama in the next segment, but what's next for Marcell? What do you want to do off the field?
There's a number of things I'm trying to do. I want to get my nonprofit started and rolling. I got my Sweet Home Alabama, my Dareus nonprofit foundation, and just trying to do anything with the community, helping houses during the storm, help with the kids in the community. I adopted my high school and helping them get uniforms and things like that. I'm just really trying to put my hand in anything I can, just trying to help out with anybody.
Man, it just seems like this guy is just too good to be true. I mean, if there was like 50 Marcell Dareus out there, we could probably change the world.
Right, you wouldn't have a chance to do wrong.
Well, Marcell and I have been talking lately about working together with our foundations, and of course, about Pro Start, and we've had the opportunity to work with the NCAA and also University of Alabama at Birmingham to kind of help kids with this new system that they got going on for the was it ACT, SAT? They're getting ready to change the process. Mm-hmm. So now when we came up, it was a 2.0 to get in school, and now they're raising the bar to help with graduation rates. So I'm looking forward to getting that information out to these kids and their parents. And Marcell and I will be working, he'll be working with Pro Start with his organization, and we'll try to partner with other organizations to get this word out, because the people that are going to suffer from this if they don't get it are the people in our own communities. This information has got to be not only taught to them, but they've got to learn it and they got to feel it, and they got to be ready for the changes that are about to come. So with that said, I'm going to call on you for for the mathematician in you to come out and develop
I'll
some
be there.
game plans.
I will be there,
And
bro.
I'm gonna call on you for the resources that you bring to the table with your big heart and your Rolodex. So
But I think that's great, because, you and I played 20 years ago, 25 years
30.
ago, 30 years ago. All right. So now we go 30 years, then the younger kids, they, who was that? Who was that? Who was that? But that's who you're trying to reach. But then you got a picture to put out there for them to see. And then you got now, this is what's going on right now, the present time. So what better thing to do than to have this, other than an Auburn guy sitting right there.
okay, I don't have a dog in that fight. We'll talk about that Auburn, Alabama thing next segment. But you're right, because this is an opportunity for the kids out here in the community to see somebody that came from their community, that rose above all the adversity and whatever else there was, and just said, okay, I'm going to be successful no matter what, and I'm going to do that, and that's what he's doing. And that's what makes me proud of this guy, because he does it every day, and it's a system. It's a system for him, not just something that he does for the heck of it. He does this because this is what he's learned. And we've got to transfer that same message to some of these kids out here so they know, like, no matter where you come from, no matter what your background was, no matter if you had both parents, no parents, whatever, you can be successful if you focus on being successful.
Right. And when another important thing he said was that, hey, I got to take the initiative. I don't have to be told to go do this. I already got a plan. Let's go get it done. Don't. Mama didn't say go cut the grass. No, the grass already cut. So you took the initiative for it.
Well, I tell you what, I'm so proud of this cat and the things that we're going to do in the future. And we're going to take a break, and we're going to be right back. Don't touch that dial. Stick with us. When we come back, we'll have more with Marcell, the Beast, Dareus.
Something to amaze me. That's when it happened. Right in front of me.
You haven't seen it until you've seen it in Charter HD. Call now to add Charter HD for only $5 more a month and watch all your favorite programs in HD. Charter, let it all in.
This is Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. You're watching Cooking with the Pros.
Welcome back to Cooking with the Pros, and we are going to continue with my good friend here, Marcell Dareus and Lionel Train James. Train, we were talking a little bit before going on break about the evaluation of the players, and let's pick up where we left off, Marcell. Talk to us a little bit about scout teams. Talk to us a little bit about what you know about the University of Alabama and what you want to see with the University of Alabama over the next year.
It's not really much to say what I want to see, because we every time we get set a goal, we already reach it. So there's not really much to see. We gonna win. We gonna do that. So we gonna beat Auburn.
I've been waiting on that.
So there's not really much to expect, but the best. And for the guys that's leaving, we got guys that gonna fill those places. There's some big shoes to fill, but I'm pretty sure they gonna meet the expectation for it.
Well, since you mentioned the fact about the guys that are going to leave, let's go down the list and let our fans know exactly who's going to leave and what the expectations are for that guy.
Let me ask this question here first before we get into that. And there's 7 guys that we want to go through. All right, now, he kind of touched on it a little bit, and we talked about this earlier. When you go to practice, you got to practice against somebody else, right? So now everybody always worries about, am I going to get the right look? We got somebody to look like LSU. We got anybody to look like Cam Newton. We got anybody to look like Mississippi State. What kind of, all these different pieces. At the University of Alabama, what kind of scout team you guys got?
That's the funny thing about Alabama. That's the secret a lot of people don't know. To be the best, you gotta play the best, and to be the best, you gotta practice against the best. You gotta practice against the best players. We recruit the best players as the backups, and we play against them. And as we get better, they get better. And when we leave, they just fill our shoes. exactly where we left him. And if we got somebody to fit anybody, we had somebody for Cam Newton. That's why Cam couldn't shake me.
Okay.
we got somebody for everybody. So that's the secret for University of Alabama to me.
So what you're saying is that if the first thing you're gonna get as a freshman or rookie in the pros is you're gonna get your butt beat.
Oh no doubt.
Technique, you're not really there yet, and really, no matter what to say, you're not really comfortable or ready to practice at the highest level yet. So you got to kind of watch the guy in front of you. So now, until you get it, but if you getting your head beat in every day, what you call it, the head slap. Okay, if you get a couple of those enough, come on, you know to dunk the next time, right? You know.
Unless Gary Burley's delivering that head slap. 'Cause you ain't get out the way. That was my bread and butter, man. You know, the head slap back in the day, man, you hit them on that ear hole and their eyes closed, and when they open up, you gone. You're up our quarterback. I learned that from L.C. Greenwood.
So back to the question now, scout team now. If we just look at the defense, you got Upshaw leaving, Hightower, Harris, Barron, Kirkpatrick, Menzie, Chapman. All right, now these guys are going to be replaced by somebody on the second team or somebody from the scout team. But now these guys are getting ready now to go anywhere from first to seventh round pick. And on here, you got 3 projected going first round, and one of them might be going to Buffalo. All right, now they got to get ready for the combine. If they got to get ready for the combine, you haven't just gone through that not that long ago.
Yeah.
What should they look for, expect, and what are the things they need to concentrate on?
I mean, I think I need to concentrate more on their body. Their body just need to be ready to just do the best they can. Like from the core to the fingertips to your feet, everything should be just perfectly tuned. You're not beating up on your body. You're taking care of your body. And so you're going to put your body out there that it does what it do. That's to give you the best we can do. So, like, I think you should work on a lot of flexibility. Everybody on this list come from University of Alabama. Of course, me and my guys, Julio and Mark, same issue. We had to work on our flexibility, our backs, because you're not going to squat as much. We squat a lot at Alabama. You're not going to squat as much once you get into training. So your back going to get stiff enough from not doing as much as you used to. And there's a number of things that I know that once they get into it, learn how to run the 40, not just lining up and taking off. Learn how to run the 40 and get it down.
Okay, that's interesting. I never really heard anybody say learn how to run the 40 because I thought you just go, take off.
No.
You know.
You really have to learn. It was a 6-week program for me to learn to run 40. As a D lineman, I think I had like one of the fastest splits out of the whole combine last year.
When you say splits, explain what you said.
At the beginning of the show, y'all talking about D lineman, the 10-yard splits. As a D lineman, I had the fastest 10-yard split, one of the fastest in the whole combine. That's running backs. I think me and Mark was like the same. I think I was a little faster than Mark coming out from 10 yard. But it's just those things when you learn how to run and know how to be explosive, learn how to use the muscles in your hips, not just for just fighting off blocks, but to really just getting out of your stance. So you're gonna really learn a lot in this small window where you can just go showcase your talent.
That's interesting.
Have you ever heard of another defensive lineman talk like that? And remember I told you when he was a junior, I saw his fundamentals, his footwork.
Right.
All that stuff comes into that systematic approach we've been talking about. You know, you learn how to run. You position your body when you're running. You come out of the hole when you're doing a 40-yard dash low, and you stay in that low position. That's how you get the time. That's how you ran a Gary Burley 4.6.
Oh, man. Oh, my God. Okay. But listen, you know, if I sit here and I talk to you guys, first thing I'm thinking about or what I'm thinking I'm going to hear is the bruiser attack, you know, muscle, to beat them up. You know, if you can't beat them up, then you don't need to be playing that position. You see what I'm saying? But see, I hear a lot of technique stuff here.
You gotta have it. You got it. You can't. There is no more that bull rush anymore. I mean, you might bull rush a couple times during the game. That's a last second approach.
Yeah.
You got to get up the field. You got to get rid of that offensive lineman and keep his hands off of you. And that's the only way you're gonna get to the quarterback. Now, somebody might fall down every once in a while, and you might get to the quarterback, but to do a consistent job. And it's not all the time about getting the sack. It's about getting in the quarterback's face, because sometimes getting in his face is worse than getting the actual sack. It's better than getting the actual sack because you throw out their whole scheme.
You might throw an interception.
Exactly, interception or what have you.
I glorify getting in his face. I tell my team in Buffalo, I mean, if we don't get the sack, we all just get in his face, step on his feet, get him uncomfortable, literally uncomfortable, hit his hand, grab him, pull him, give him something that he don't want to. I look at all that as a sack. If I throw my hand in your face and you throw the ball somewhere else, that's a sack for me. All of that is a sack if I get in your way, make you do something you don't want to do. I got my goal.
Okay.
So I think I always reach 200 sacks a season.
200. Okay.
Hey, let me ask you a quick question here. What was it like for you when you found out that you were nominated for Defensive Player of the Year? How did it make you feel?
I felt great, man. You know, as a rookie, you know, I was one of the youngest players in the draft this year. Come from Birmingham, Alabama, and went to the University of Alabama and lived in the shadow of Terrence Cody, Mark Ingram, Julio, and then I kind of get a little chance to shine, going number 3 overall, and then keeping my word, not being a flop in the league, and just being nominated just means the world to me. They look at me that much of a leader, a young person that's thriving in the community. Whatever, it gave me the opportunity to be Rookie of the Year.
Well, you set the standard for what a quintessential defensive lineman should be. I mean, you're intelligent. And I'm talking about intelligent on the field. He doesn't make the mistakes of a normal rookie, and that's what shocked me. That's what shocked me, because a lot of guys get out there and they don't want to go through the whole process. You got a team. The team has certain goals. The goal for a defensive lineman is to stop the run and rush the passer, stay in your pass rushing lane. He's been disciplined to do those type of things, and I've been watching. I watch his career more than I watch anybody else, and I see the things that he does. So I'm very proud of you. I really, really appreciate you coming on the show today, man.
No problem.
And I look forward to us getting together and making some great things happen in this community that we both love and live in. And thanks for coming out today.
No problem, my pleasure.
All right.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Coming up, we're going to replay an interview with Agent Supreme Lee Steinberg.
Here at the Charter International Dateline facility, scientists have 1 foot in today and 1 foot literally in tomorrow to bring Charter customers the latest thing. Oh, it's Casual Friday over here. Like switching your phone service from AT&T, Verizon, or CenturyLink, Charter guarantees to cut your phone bill in half. Speaking of cutting things in half, where's the rest of those pants?
Okay, you ready? Surprise. Yeah! Wait for me!
Come on. Yeah.
Daddy?
Yeah?
The power of yeah.
Yeah.
Brought to you in part by Alabama Power. Always on.
We're back with Cooking with the Pros, and on the line we have sports agent extraordinaire Lee Steinberg. Some of Lee's clients you'll know as some of the top quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League. Lee, how are you today?
I'm great, Gary. Yourself?
Oh, I can't believe I got you on the phone, but every day above ground is a good day.
You're so right.
Remember that. Well, Lee, the first question I want to ask you is, being a former NFL player, I know your history. I've had a lot of teammates and guys that I played against that you represented. What drove you in the beginning to be a sports agent?
I was living in a dorm up at UC Berkeley as a grad counselor working my way through law school. There really wasn't any sports law at that time. Most athletes were represented by their parents. There was no guaranteed right of representation. And after I got out of law school, I traveled the world for a year. And then they moved the freshman football team into the dorm while I was a grad counselor. And one of the students was Steve Bartkowski. And in 1975, he became the very first player picked in the first round and asked me to represent him. So there I was, Gary, brimming with legal experience, never having practiced before, and I had the first pick in the draft. It's a World Football League competing against an NFL, teams like the Shreveport Steamer and the Chicago Wind, and we were able to secure Steve the largest rookie contract in NFL history. It eclipsed Joe Namath and O.J. Simpson, who had been the previous standard bearers, and I remember getting into Atlanta the night prior to signing Steve, and we come to the airport, and there were Klieg lights flashing in the sky. A huge crowd is pressed up against the police line, and the interviewer said, "We interrupt the Johnny Carson show to bring you a special news." Bartkowski and his attorney Lee Steinberg have just arrived at the airport. We switch you live for an in-depth interview. And it was really then I saw the tremendous idol worship and veneration that athletes are held in communities across the country, and saw the potential to really make a difference in athletes' lives, and also through charitable programs in the lives of other people, and thought this could be interesting.
Well, Lee, I know how cutthroat that business can be sometimes. So as a young man, I mean, I can't imagine you being older than 25 at the time, if you were that old.
Right.
How did the other agents treat your success at that time?
Since I had such a strong philosophy, which was that if an athlete would serve as a role model and retrace his roots, go back to the high school, collegiate, professional community, and set up programs that enhance the quality of life, like scholarship funds at the high school level, athletes like Edgerrin James setting a complete scholarship up at the University of Miami, or Kerry Collins at Penn State, or Troy Aikman at UCLA. It was a different way to look at the field of sports representation. It was a way of saying, what skills does an athlete have other than athletic ones that can, first of all, make him a role model and trigger imitative behavior, and second of all, set him up very nicely for second career, and the fact that at some premature age, the career may well end. So that I'm sure they didn't know what to make of that.
Lee, Lionel James, former San Diego Charger. With parents as educators, a teacher and a librarian, and growing up with the importance of knowing about education and becoming your high school class president and then starting your own organization at UC Berkeley, how did your parents push you into that, or that is something that you always wanted to do? And the reason I'm asking that question is that I talked to a coach once, and he said when he recruited a player, what he did was he wanted to know what that player was doing in the third grade. How did your parents affect your lifestyle or your job direction?
My father had two core values. One was to treasure relationships, especially family. And the second was to try and be someone that made a change for the better in the world and help people who couldn't help themselves. So I was hardwired at a young age to look at a life of service. And I just fell into sports representation. More likely I'd have been out in the civil rights movement, or in the human rights movement, or somehow, working with people that were impoverished. But I ended up with this, and I saw quickly how when you had a client like Warwick Dunn, and they set up Homes for the Holidays, which was a way to take single mothers and put them into the first homes that